Hi, I'm Coach Jill. Want to learn how to pick a coach for you or your little skater? Stay tuned and you'll find out. Hi there, it's Coach Jill. Today I want to talk about how to pick a coach. Whether you're picking a coach for yourself as an adult skater or for your skater who's a little kiddo and you really want them to have the best start with the best person to guide them on their journey, there's a lot to think about as you pick your coach. The first place to look for any information on the coaches in your club, and hopefully you are part of a club, either through attending group lessons or putting your kiddo in a learn to skate program of some sort, the first place you want to go is the club website. Hopefully your club has a good one and it's easy to navigate. Now what you're going to find on that website is a listing of all the coaches that work there. And you're going to see their biographies, a little bit about themselves as people, their experiences, their credentials, everything you need to know to make a decision about whether they might be right for you as your coach. Before we go any further, I think it's really important that you know you need to pick your coach for the skating season at the beginning or even earlier than the start of the season. So if you or your kiddo, who you might be picking a coach for, start your skating season in September, then you need to start researching who you want as your coach as early as June or July, because these coaches fill up fast and the really good ones are usually already full with clients. So you really have to get a jump start on it to make sure that you get the coach that best fits you. So now you've checked out the website and let's say you found a few coaches that might be suitable. Some of them might be full already, so there might only be a couple for you to pick from. How do you figure out which one is best for you? Well, there's a couple ways that you can go about this. First and foremost, you can look at the coach's credentials and see if they're the right fit for your goals or your kiddo's goals in skating. If this coach is a super highly elite competitive coach and you don't have super highly elite competitive goals, you might not mesh. So you really have to take into consideration what you're going into skating for. Maybe you have already had a couple of coaches and you want to get a more competitive coach that's going to push you a little harder. Well, then you're going to look for the people that have credentials that will back that up and have had some experience taking skaters to competitions, hopefully with some success too. So now you've narrowed it down to a few coaches that might be suitable. What do you do now? Well, I suggest that you ask around. Find out who skates with each coach and call them. Not the kids. If they're kids, then you got to talk to the parents. I mean, you don't want to approach the kids. Ask the parents what their experiences with this coach has been like. Are their children happy? Does this coach have a coaching philosophy that matches theirs? Are they on time with billing and collecting their fees, or do they sometimes not bill for months and months and then hit the parents with an astronomical bill? Because that happens, and trust me, I've seen it. It's not a good thing. Are they kind? Are they supportive of your child through all their ups and downs? Is it more important to them that they help create good people instead of good athletes? Because really, skating is just the disguise that we use to help teach life skills and create really well-adjusted and happy people. So you want to find out these things, and the parents of the athletes this coach already works with are the best source of information for you to find this out. The other thing that you can do, and I actually highly recommend this, is go to the rink. Let's say it's a summer school. You're picking a coach in the summer for fall, and a lot of these coaches teach during the summer at summer school. Go and sit and watch some of the lessons that this coach teaches. How do they do? Are they great with the kids? Are they personable? Are they relatable? Are they fun? Do they seem knowledgeable and even keel? Are they yelly coaches? Are they quiet coaches? There are so many different personalities, and it's really important you get a feel for the type of personality that you're looking at when you want to hire a coach. Don't be fooled into thinking that a coach who has just started coaching is not a good fit for you. Just because someone is new to the profession does not mean that they don't have the drive or the knowledge necessary to help you. And often, newer coaches are the ones that are more innovative, they're more willing to try new things, they're hungrier, and they have more energy. Not everybody can coach. You might have or find a coach that has credentials that are out the wazoo, literally, but they may not be the best inspiration for other people. They may not be the best motivator. Some of the most technical skaters I've ever met were not great coaches. It takes a special kind of person to be a coach. So don't be fooled by knowledge and credentials. Yes, you need someone who knows what they're talking about, but I think personality and the desire to be open and to want to inspire young people is even more important than a long list of credentials or 100 years of experience. So as you're gathering information from people that have taken instruction from these coaches, I want to issue a word of warning. If at any point in your fact-finding mission about your particular coach, you might encounter some bad-mouthing of other coaches from these people, please, please, please do not buy into it. Often in skating clubs, there are undercurrents of this team versus that team, gossip, rumor mongering. It happens, unfortunately. Do not listen if somebody you're speaking to tries to badmouth another coach. Never trust that information. You don't know where it came from. You don't know whether it's true. You don't know whether it was taken out of context. You just don't know. So please, please, please do your own research on each coach that you're interested in. And honestly, if someone badmouths another coach to you, to me, that's more of an indication of their character and that coach's camp than it is of the other coach that is being, rumor mongered about. Now that you've picked somebody, make sure to call them. Before you proceed any further, you need to call this coach and find out if they even have room for you or your kiddo. If they don't, do not pass go, collect $200, and start again, unfortunately. What you want to do now is you want to call them up and say, hey, could I take you out for coffee? This is where you're going to get a one-on-one, a sit-down where you can look at the coach, you can talk to them, you get an idea of who they are, and have a list of questions ready that you want to ask. Things like, do they coach all year round? What do they like most about coaching? What's their coaching philosophy? Do they have plans to stay at that club for long? You name it, whatever you feel you need to ask to feel comfortable with that coach, make sure you write it down, you take it with you. Make sure as well that you are prepared to spend money for that time. Okay, if you're taking that coach out for coffee and you're grilling them, you might need to ask them about how much skating time they think you'll need, how many lessons they think you'll need. They're using their expertise to help you get organized, and this is a billable service, okay? Our time isn't free. So ask the coach for coffee, pay for the coffee, and be prepared to pay 1 or 2 lesson fees depending on the coach. Just expect it, okay? Because that's a normal fee for our time. Now, I would like to actually caution you, you need to ask for a criminal background check. I've been coaching 35 years, and the number of times that people have asked me for a criminal background check is 0. For some reason, people don't seem to think this is important. Now, if you're an adult, maybe not so important, but if you're hiring a coach for your child, this is supremely important. We all were aghast and horrified at what happened with Larry Nassar in the U.S. figure skating, in the U.S. gymnastics federation. So let's take a little bit more care with the people that we allow our children to be with, and let's be a little bit more vigilant. We really need to be more careful. Ask about a criminal background check. This is an important thing to know for this person that's going to be spending so much time with your kiddo. So after you've decided and you've contracted that coach, they've accepted you as their student, what will likely happen is they will have a contract for you to sign. Now, don't get upset or stressed about the contract. You're not being locked into anything. Any contract can be broken as long as you give notice. The purpose of a contract for me and for most coaches, is it's just so that we can be very clear about what services we're offering, what fee we're going to be charging, when we will bill, what our expectations are. I know as a coach, in my years of teaching, I would give a contract, I would give a expectation sheet for me, for the student, and for the parent, and I would have them sign, and I would sign, and we would both have copies. So everything was laid out with regard to if you show up late for a lesson, or if there are missed payments on bills, what will happen then. And then I gave a fee sheet as well, which clearly laid out my fees for private lessons, semi-privates, competitions, cutting music and editing music and picking music and consulting with sports psychologists, and everything I did for my skaters was listed in that fee sheet. So there were no surprises. Now, I even went over and above. I don't know that a lot of coaches do this, but I would also give a weekly schedule of lessons, breaking down how much lesson time they had each day and how much practice time they had. And I even did practice plans for the times that my skaters were not in lessons. Particularly for young skaters, it really helped them so that they could be independent and yet still get, a lot of skills achieved and work hard when they weren't under my instruction. Adults also really appreciate this too. So if your coach doesn't offer it, you can ask them, but be prepared. I did charge for doing those practice plans because they do take a certain amount of work and I have to individualize them. So again, those would be listed on my fee sheet. If you don't see it, or if there's something on the fee sheet you don't see with your coach, keep the lines of communication open. It's a two-way street with your coach. You're going to want to ask questions as you go, and your coach, hopefully, should be open to answering them. Now, don't approach your coach at the rink with questions. We are on a very tight schedule. I often would teach every 10 minutes or every 15 minutes or every half hour with my lessons. And the problem is sometimes parents would ask me a question while I was at the ice surface, and it would take me a couple minutes to answer or finish the conversation, and it cut into my next lesson for my next client. Number one, that's not fair for that client, okay? Number two, I actually will then reduce what I bill that client 2 minutes or 3 minutes or however much of that lesson time that they missed with me. I won't charge them for it because I don't feel that's right, which means I've now lost income because you've spoken to me at the rink instead of during our regularly decided times to speak. Which leads me to the next thing. When do you communicate? If you can't communicate at the rink, talk to your coach. Often they will ask for email communication because it is the easiest way to get things written down where you can go back and refer to them. So if I have a skater that asks me, or a parent that asks me, hey, what was it she was working on today? I'd really like to know. I could then send an email describing, oh, we were working on a sow cow. Here's what it is. Here's a video of it and what it looks like. And you would then have that to refer to forever. And this really helps to keep the communication consistent, and it helps to have those emails to refer to so that you can go back and say, yes, actually, I did tell you about this, or, oh, I'm sorry, you did tell me about that. I forgot. Thank you so much. I'm glad we had this in writing in our emails. The other thing that I loved about email is I could answer on my own time. Phone calls can be invasive, and we are so busy that we have to set boundaries for our family time as coaches, and we have to be very, very careful about guarding that. So I was able to answer phone calls, or I was able to answer emails from my competitive kids when I had the time, when I didn't have anything else to do. Maybe it was late at night, but I could devote the time that I needed to giving very strong answers and thoughtful and caring answers to my clients and give my clients the time that they deserved. Whereas often if you approach me at the rink and I only have a minute, I don't have the time to give you the quality answer or information that you're asking for. So there you have it. There are some things to keep in mind when it's time for you to pick a coach for you or your kiddo. I hope this helps you in the process because I know it can be a little confusing, especially if you're a first-time skater or parent of a skater. Thanks for watching. If you liked what I had to say, please share, comment, or subscribe. Until next time, take care everybody and keep your edges on ice.